Today we are going to discuss a very important topic in advanced management accounting. We have done few revision sessions, we have done some theoretical parts we have covered and we have discussed. In this session I have selected a very important topic and mandatory topic in CL3 advanced management accounting. It is a mandatory question. Generally it might be a 20 marks question. Regular it has been tested over the period. Therefore, advanced management accounting, today we are going to discuss very important topic, standard costing and variance analysis. That is a very interesting topic and it is a very important topic in your examination. In order to pass the examination, you need to attempt this question is mandatory. Without this question, sometimes it might be very difficult to pass the examination. Therefore, today we are going to discuss this important topic, standard costing and that means two topics, even though because both are going together, standard costing and variance analysis. Why I have taken both together? Because both are interrelated. The most important thing when we are going to discuss about variance analysis, we do have to discuss about standard costing. The important fact of standard costing is when you are going to produce a product or service based on a predefined or predetermined standard or predetermined specification, you have to calculate expected cost per unit. That is the main purpose of standard costing. This standard costing refers, okay, when we are going to discuss about standard costing, you have to identify what is the meaning of a standard. I think we have learned this meaning of the standard in advanced level business studies. Anyway, the standard costing refers, this is not a costing method. Standard cost mean you are going to calculate a unit cost based on a predetermined specification of a product. Predetermined specification, it's a predetermined unit cost. Okay, it's a predetermined specification mean when you are going to make a product or going to produce a product, then there should be a specification. As an example, I will say this is called predetermined. We are going to calculate the cost based on predetermined specification. Based on predetermined specification, you are going to calculate cost per unit. Okay. As an example, when you are going to make a product, it says you required direct material assume 2 kilogram at 100 each. Okay, direct material. Direct labor 3 hours at 200 rupees each. Likewise, there might be some specification on this when we are going to manufacture this product. If you are going to produce a product, it requires 2 kilogram of material plus 3 hours of direct labor hours. Okay, then this is a predetermined specification. If you are going to produce a product or service, then there should be a specification for product. Assume you are going to prepare a cup of tea. Assume it is 100 milliliter. It might contain sugar, it might contain milk powder, water, then hot water. That is a combination. There should be a combination. Specification is there. When there is a specification, how to calculate cost of that particular unit. Therefore, this standard costing provide guideline for or provide some guidelines to monitor the result. That means it's a planning tool. You can use planning and controlling tool, because by using standard costing detail you can compare it with actual. Okay, you can compare actual with standard, then you can identify the variance. That's why I am going to discuss standard costing and variance analysis together. Therefore, first we will look at what is the meaning of standard costing. Thereafter we will discuss variance analysis. The standard costing mean you are going to calculate a cost of a unit based on predetermined specification. It might be a product, it might be a service, it might be a component of a product. Okay. Therefore, based on predetermined specification, standard costing accumulates cost per unit based on predetermined specification. Okay. Okay. It is given a description given. Standard cost is a planned cost per unit of product, component or unit of a service. Okay. Planned cost per unit. Therefore, we have a predetermined specification. Based on predetermined specification, we are calculating cost per unit. Okay. Standard costing accumulates cost per unit of product based on predetermined specification. As I said, it's a predetermined specification. How it related to variance analysis? Assume if you want to produce a product, you require 3 kg of material, as I said earlier, 3 kg of material and 2 direct labor hours. That is the requirement per unit. Assume you have produced 1000 units, then you can estimate if one unit require 3 kg of material, then if you produce 1000 units, it requires 3000 kg of material. Then you can compare with actual whether it is lower than the expected result or it is higher than the expected outcome. Okay, that's why we are going to discuss variance analysis. As I said earlier, assume if one unit require, based on predetermined specification, one unit require 3 kg of material, 3 kg. Assume if it produce 1000 units, each unit required 3 kg, then it should use 3000 kg of material. But actual might be different. Actual. Assume actual is 3500 kilograms. Now there is a difference between expected result and the actual result. That difference we call variance. Variance. Therefore, you will compare. Standard costing is standard costing is most important when you are going to compare actual result with expected result for the controlling purpose. Okay. Then when we are going to understand costing, we are preparing a statement we call standard cost card. That standard cost card give the detailed information about unit cost of a product. Okay, how many units of material required, what type of material required, what type of labor, and how many hours required per unit. Then you will accumulate cost per unit in the standard cost card. After calculation of standard cost per unit, then that will be user guideline when we are going to evaluate actual performance. As I said earlier, if you require 3 kg of material to produce 1 unit, then if you produce 1000 units, then it should have been used 3000 kilograms. Then compare it with actual, then you will identify variance if the actual is different from the expected. This is the basic of standard costing and variance analysis. Here it says The standard cost card will be prepared based on the predetermined specification or requirement. It will be a guiding tool to compare the expected performance against the actual. These comparison will identify the variances. Yes, this you can identify variances. Okay, that is standard costing. For a better understanding, we will prepare a standard cost card. Then you can get an idea. That is the fundamental. Based on standard cost card, you can compare the actual result. Then you can identify the variances. Okay. Now there's an example in example number 1, standard cost card. We will read example number 1. In example number 1, it's related to ABC PLC. ABC PLC has estimated to produce 10,000 units in 2021. 10,000 units is the estimated production. The cost estimate has given below. Okay. Direct material, material X and material Y, their requirement 10,000 kilogram of X, material Y 20,000 kilograms. The total cost is given material X 200,000, material Y 600,000 if you are going to produce 10,000 unit of output. Direct labor 20,000 hours, the total cost will be 800,000. Variable production overhead 200,000, fixed production overhead 300,000. Variable production overhead will be varied with direct labor hours. Generally, we will assume variable production overhead vary with direct labor hours. Fixed production overhead will be absorbed based on units of production. Required, prepare a standard cost card. Okay. Now we are going to prepare a standard cost card. Standard cost card. Standard cost card. Cost or type of cost. Type of cost. Number of inputs required, price per input, value total. Okay. Based on the given information, first type of cost item we will consider direct material. Direct material. There are two types of material you are using. They are material X and material Y. There are two types of material X and Y. But remember, the given information in example number 1 say, you are going to produce 10,000 unit of output. It require 10,000 kilograms of material X. That means per unit required how many kilogram of material? 1 kilogram of material required. 1 kilogram. Now, price per unit is not directly given. You have to find it out. 10,000 kilograms are worth of 200,000. That means 200,000 if you divide by 10,000, it should be 20 rupees per kilogram. 20 rupees per kilogram. 1 kilogram required, each will be 20. The subtotal, value will be 20. 20 direct material X. Material Y, look at, if you want to produce 10,000 unit, material Y required 20,000 kilogram. That means 2 kilogram required, 2 kilograms are required to produce 1 unit. Price per input, 600,000 divided by 20,000 kilograms of material means 30 rupees per kilogram. 30 rupees per kilogram. 30 rupees per kilogram. Then each required 2 kilogram, price per kilogram is 30. 30 into 2 kilogram, value should be 60. Value should be 60. Then you can calculate direct material based on the specification. It required 1 kilogram of material X, material Y it required 2 kilogram. Altogether total material cost of 80 rupees we have to incur per unit of output. Therefore direct material cost per unit is 80. Okay, then next cost item, direct labor. Direct labor. Direct labor. To produce entire output, direct labor requirement is 20,000. Your budgeted output 10,000. If you are going to produce 10,000, it says 20,000 hours are required. That means 20,000 hours divided by 10,000 units, each required 2 hours. 2 hours. What would be the cost per hour? 20,000 hours will cost around 800,000. That means 40 rupees per unit. 40 rupees per unit. Okay. Then 2 hours into 40 rupees each. Direct labor cost also rupees 80. 80 rupees. Labor cost per unit is 80. Then third one, variable production overhead. Variable production overhead. Variable production overhead. The budgeted variable production overhead 200,000. Remember, it will be absorbed based on direct labor hours. Budgeted direct labor hours 20,000. You are going to produce 10,000 units, direct labor hours will be 20,000. Here we assume variable overhead will be varied with direct labor hour generally. Then if you divide 200,000 by 20,000 direct labor hours, standard rate is 10 rupees per hour. Each require 2 direct labor hours. 2 hours are required, 2 direct labor hours. Cost per hour how much? 200,000 is the cost, divided by 20,000 hours. Standard rate is 10 rupees per hour. Variable overhead 10 rupees per hour. Then 2 hours into 10, it should be 20. 20. Then final one, final cost item, fixed production overhead. Fixed production overhead. It says that total 300,000, but then it will be absorbed based on unit of production. There are different bases to absorb the fixed production overhead. When you are going to calculate fixed production overhead absorption rate, you can divide it by direct labor hours, direct material, then prime cost you can use, machine hours. There are bases available to determine fixed production overhead absorption rate. Here it says you will absorb the fixed production overhead based on unit of production. Budgeted production 10,000 unit, your fixed production overhead is 300,000. 300,000 divided by 10,000, cost will be 30 rupees per unit. Okay. Total budgeted overhead 300,000 divide by budgeted output 10,000 units. I will take it here 30 rupees. Now you can take, this is the standard cost of a unit. If you are going to produce this particular product, this is the standard cost per unit, standard cost per unit, standard cost per unit. Take the total 80 plus 80, 160 plus the 20, 180 plus 10, sorry 30, 210. 210. 210. This is the standard cost card. Generally, some instances we will include total cost, then you will add the markup here, then you will determine the standard selling price as well. Therefore, this standard cost card will accumulate, okay, accumulate the standard resource requirement per unit and their total cost of a unit. Now, why this is very important? When you are going to identify, evaluate the performance, you will look at this amount, direct material, 20 rupees per unit for material X, 60 rupees per unit of material Y. I will say actual production, I have produced 1000 units. I have produced 1000 units. Then if I have produced 1000 units, what should be the direct material cost which I have expected to incur? What was my expectation? Based on the specification, based on the standard cost, it says direct material cost per unit should be 80. Okay. Then if I have produced 1000 unit, my material cost, direct material cost should be 80,000. My direct material cost should be 80,000. But remember, if the actual is 90,000, actual is 90,000, there is a variance, because based on the specification, if I have produced 1000 unit, the cost should have been, the direct material cost should have been 80 into 1000, 80,000, but my actual is 90,000. There is the difference. That difference we call variance. Variance. There is a variance of 10,000. It's a negative variance. We call adverse. Adverse variance there. Why? I have spent more than estimated. Then you have to find out the reason as to why. Why your actual cost has gone up rather expected cost. There are two reasons. At any variance there will be two reasons. Either change of actual usage, this combination might have been changed. You might have consumed more material, or either price per input might have changed. At any variance, there are two reasons. There are two reasons. What are they? Change in quantity usage and change in prices. Even you look at about sales variance, direct labor, variable production overhead, whatever the things, mainly any reason, there are two factors affect change in quantity and change in price. Okay. Therefore, the standard cost card provide basic guidelines to evaluate the performance. As a controlling technique, you can use standard cost card, then you can compare the actual result, then you can identify the deviation. Okay. Therefore, the standard cost card summarize, I will summarize. The standard cost card accumulate cost per unit based on predetermined specification of a product or service or any component. Clear? Therefore, when we are going to evaluate actual performance, when we are going to evaluate the performance, you will compare this expected result with actual result. Very simply, if you going to produce 1 unit of output, the direct material cost will be 80. Then you will compare, if direct material cost should be 80, if I have produced 10,000 unit, the cost will be 800,000. Then you can compare what actually you have incurred. That is called variance. Always you will compare your expected result with actual outcome. The expected result you can estimate based on the predetermined specification. Okay. That is about standard cost card, standard costing. Under this standard costing, when we are going to set standards, generally we have identified 4 types of standards. Okay, 4 types of standards. Those standards also affect to change in, or those standard will impact to different type of variances. Okay. Types of standards. Better to keep an idea about the types of standards. Type of standards. There are 4 types of standards. Number 1, basic standard. Basic standards. The basic standard means the standard set at the beginning. It does not reflect current market condition. At the inception, we have set these standard to cover the basic requirement of the product or service. This may not be suitable when market is rapidly changing. Basic standard, they might be historical standard, may not reflect the current market condition. Okay. I will take an example. I don't know whether you have experience or not. When we are using the product called SuperiWiki, at 5 to 10 years ago, 3 to 5 years ago, their color, their smell, most of the kids are not willing to know, they are reluctant to use those SuperiWiki. Okay. Nowadays, what has happened? Now gel toothpaste are available. Okay. Kids are they are very interesting. Even when you brush their teeth, then definitely they might eat it. Okay. Now they have to, the basic standard at the inception may not be suitable in the current context. You have to change it. But the basic standards only provide the basic guideline or basic requirement of a product, but does not reflect current market condition. Therefore, basic standards may not be suitable. These standard will be set at the beginning. Then next standard, ideal standards. Ideal standards. These ideal standards generally and very difficult, even too much difficult to achieve, always result negative variance. That means this assume 100% efficiency. 100% efficiency. It ignores regular operational failures like machine breakdowns, employee rest time, idle time, those kind of things have been ignored. 100% efficiency level. If you set an standard as an example, I will take a good example with you. You will be very familiar with that. Assume you have a study plan. Okay, you have prepared a timetable. Early morning, I will start around, wake up around 4 o'clock. 4 to 6, 2 hours AMA, management accounting. 6 to 8, I will study advanced business reporting, ABR. 8 to 10, I am going to study SL4. Likewise, you have prepared time share without giving any room for rest or take an interval. Will it be feasible? You will wake up around 4 o'clock, you will do first half an hour, then you might think you need to have a cup of tea, then you might spare some time. By looking at the total duration, out of 2 hours, you might spend 1.5 hours might be useful for when you are studying. Another 30 minutes might be non-productive time. Therefore, if you evaluate the performance, then always result at the negative variance. Therefore, ideal standards are not suitable when evaluating or measuring performance. It always generate negative variances or adverse variances, because we need to keep a margin for the unexpected machine breakdowns, unexpected labor strikes, those kind of arrangement, we have to keep some allowance for that. Third type of standard we call attainable standards. Attainable standards. Attainable standards. Attainable standards mean they are difficult to achieve but can be achieved. To eliminate the weakness in ideal standards, these type of standard keep an allowance for normal wastage, normal breakdowns. They have keep some allowance for that. Therefore, under normal conditions, these standards can be achievable or attainable. Therefore, these are recommended. These standards are recommended, attainable standards. Because these, when we are setting this standard, we keep some margin for these type of standard, or some normal wastage, as an example, evaporation, spoilage, you will allocate some allowance for them. Then these standards are difficult to achieve but can be achieved. Okay. Final type of standard, current standards. Current standards. The current standards mean these are regularly changing. The standard will be revised very short period of time if you are operating in a highly dynamic business environment. The customer taste, the requirement, product specification is regularly changing. With a short period of time, you have to use current standards. Okay. This will reflect current market condition. These are the 4 types of standard. The accuracy, the level of variance also depend on the type of standards you have been used. Okay. That is the complete understanding of standard costing you need to have. Now we will move to your main topic, variance analysis. Standard costing we have done, then variance analysis. When you are going to do a variance analysis, here we are going to discuss about profit variance analysis. Profit variance. The profit will be computed revenue minus cost. Okay. Therefore, profit variance will arise as a result of 2 reasons: revenue or sales variances and cost variances. Okay. Therefore, profit variance will arise as a result of revenue variance and cost variances. Then cost variances also we will analyze 4 types of cost: direct material, direct labor, variable production overhead, fixed production overhead. Why don't we consider about administration cost and all? They are periodic cost. They are not a part of unit cost. They will directly charge to the P&L. Clear? Therefore, we are going to discuss about profit variance. I will simplify profit variance. profit variance. You are going to compare expected profit with actual profit. The profit variance will arise as a result of two reasons. What are they? There are two reasons. Number one, as a result of sales variances, and other one cost variances. Sales and cost variances. Okay. Any variance, either sales or cost variance, will arise as a result of change in price or either change in quantity, that means usage. These cost variances are divided into four types of cost variances. We are analyzing into four types. Under cost variance, I will break it down. Direct material cost variances. Direct material cost variances. Then we will discuss about direct labor. Direct labor cost variances. Direct labor cost variances. Then we will discuss about variable production overhead. Variable production overhead cost variances. And finally, we will discuss fixed production overhead cost variances. Okay. Variable production overhead, fixed production overhead, those cost variances also we will discuss. There are four types of cost variances. Sales variance also we are discussing. These direct material, labor, variable production also have some sub variances. We can analyze direct material, we can analyze into price and usage. Direct material cost variance will arise as a result of changing purchase price and change in usage. Therefore, this direct material cost I can analyze into price and usage. Price and usage. Direct material, price and usage. Direct material cost variance will arise as a result of price and usage variance. If we use more than one type of material, this usage variance can be further analyzed into mix and yield variance. Okay. This usage variance I can analyze into two mix and yield variance. Mix and yield. Okay. Now you can see that the main cost variance you can analyze into main two sub variances, price and usage. If we use more than one type of material, this usage variance can be analyzed into mix and yield. If you go to labor, what will happen to labor, direct labor cost variance? It can analyze into three type of variances, three sub variances. Direct labor rate, change of rate, efficiency, and there will be some variance, idle time variance. Idle time variance. There are three: rate variance, efficiency and idle time. Same as here, if you use more than one type of labor, this efficiency variance can be further analyzed into mix and yield. Okay. This can be further analyzed into mix and yield. Mix and yield. Okay. The fixed production overhead variance, variable production overhead variance, you can analyze into expenditure and Other variance is efficiency. Expenditure and efficiency. Fixed variable production overhead. Fixed production overhead you can analyze into two: expense and volume. The volume variance into two capacity utilization, I will say capacity and volume efficiency. Volume efficiency. Those are the cost variances. Okay. There may be lot of variances are there in cost variance side. In the sales variances, mainly two, we can divide it into two. What are they? Sales price variance and sales volume variance. Okay. If you sell more than one type of sales or one type of product, assume two products are you are selling, then this volume variance can be analyzed into mix and quantity. Mix and quantity. These are the full set of variances which will arise and which may impact to the profit variances. Either sales variances or either cost variances will impact to the profit variance. Therefore, under basic variance analysis, these variances we need to calculate. After analyzing these variances, you have to prepare profit variance reconciliation statement. The reason for profit variance, these are the reasons for variances. Okay, you can prepare a brief note about the total variance analysis. We are going to evaluate profit variance analysis. There are two reasons for profit variance, that means say either sales or cost variances will impact. For any variances, there is a reason, either change in price or either change in quantity will be impacted. Okay. Okay. Now we will start with basic variance analysis and we will select cost variance because they are more cost variances, they are rather sales variances, more item to compute. We will start with cost variances. Okay. Under cost variances, I will first select direct material cost variance. Okay. This is an example as well, example number 2, direct material cost variance. We will look at how to deal with these variances and do not by heart, because get the understanding how to deal with these variances. No need to by heart, because if you understand the real picture, the real way to do it, then you need not to by heart it. Okay, no need to by heart the formulas and all. Okay, there is an illustration. We will look at it. Read the illustration first. ABC PLC has estimated to produce 10,000 units in the month of March. The direct material cost estimate as given below. Material X 10,000 kilograms at a cost of 200,000. Material Y 20,000 kilograms at 600,000. During the period, company has produced 8,000 units and following costs were incurred in relation to the material. Direct material, material X 13,000 kilograms, total cost 234,000. Material Y 14,000 kilograms at 462,000. Required to calculate direct material price, usage variances. Required to calculate usage variance into mix and yield variances. First, what we need to do? We will summarize the content. There are two types of material we are using. Okay, first we will look at standard material cost per unit. Material X and material Y. Material X and material Y. To produce 10,000 unit, material X required 10,000 kilograms, mean we required 1 kilogram of material X. What is the price? Their price 10,000 kilograms at 200,000, mean at 20 rupees per kilogram. That mean 20 is the direct material cost. Okay. Material Y, budgeted production 10,000 units. Material Y, it required 20,000 kilograms. The total cost will be 600,000. 20,000 kilograms mean it required 2 kilogram. At what is the purchase price? Expected purchase price 30 rupees. 600,000 divided by 20,000, it should be 30 rupees. Then 60. If you produce an output, your direct material cost should be 80 rupees. This is the expected usage. This is the standard usage. Usage into, this is the standard price. This is the expectation. Now you have to compare. Now during the period, how many units you have produced? Actual production says 8,000 units you have produced. Okay. Actual production 8,000. 8,000 units. Okay. Now when we are going to compare or when we are going to do the variance analysis, what we need to look at, if you are going to produce 1 unit of output, the cost should have been 80 rupees per unit. Okay. Direct material cost per unit should be 80 rupees. If you produce 8,000 units of output, what should be the standard cost? And you have to compare it with actual cost. Okay. Therefore, first we will look at what is the expected, first we will calculate the total material cost variance. That is very important. Total material cost variance. Total direct material cost variance. Number 1, we are going to calculate. I will explain, there are different ways to do it. No need to by heart it. What was the expected cost? Each unit 80 rupees into 8,000 unit. What should be the cost? We will call expected. Okay. Standard cost. Standard cost of actual production. How much? එකක් හැදුවොත් 80යි. If you produce 1 unit, the unit cost will be, direct material cost should be 80 rupees. 80 rupees per unit. Okay, 80 rupees per unit. If you produce an output, එකක් හදන්න 80 නම් 8000ක් හැදුවා නම් ඔයා කොච්චරක් යනවද? 80 into 8,000. Okay, 80 into 8,000 because we expect that based on my specification, direct material cost per unit will be 80 rupees. If it is 80 per one, then if you produce 8,000 units, what should be the cost? This can be resolved by even a grade 5 scholarship. If you produce 1 unit 80, if you produce 8,000, what should be the cost? Even in grade 5 scholarship exam, it won't tested. It won't be tested. Okay. Now 80 into 8,000, what should be the cost? It should be 560,000. This should be the material cost. Sorry, 640. 8 into 8, 640. 640,000. Okay. Now compare what is the actual cost. That is the variance now. Then you will compare this the standard cost, actual material cost. Actual material cost. Actual material cost. What is the actual material cost? Material X. Material X. Total cost 234,000. 234,000. Material Y 462,000. Take the total 234 plus 462, 696,000 is the actual cost. Now, can you tell me, this is the expected cost, expected material cost for 8,000 unit. Unit 8,000 හැදුවා නම් අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන material cost එක තමයි මේ තියෙන්නේ. 8,000 into 80, 640,000. This is the actual material cost. Is it favorable or adverse? It is an adverse variance. We expected to incur 640, we have spent 696,000. 6,40,000යි අපි expect කරේ. හැබැයි අපි වියදම් කරලා තිනවා 696,000. That means we have spent more than expected. Then you can get the answer. Total direct material cost variance 56,000 and adverse variance. Adverse 56,000 and adverse variance. You will compare what is the standard cost and what is the actual cost. If you produce 1 unit, cost will be 80 rupees per unit, direct material cost. If it is 8,000 unit, what should be the total material cost? Then it should be compared with the actual material cost. Then you can identify the variance. Variance is 56,000 and adverse variance. Now you need to look at why. My total material cost variance 56,000 and adverse. What is the reason? You have to look at the reason. There are two reasons. You expect to use 1 kilogram of X and 2 kilogram of Y. If we use the same combination, how many kilogram of material used when we are going to produce 8,000 units? Sometimes usage might be more than expected. Then when you are going to look at the prices, you can compare prices might be lower or higher than the expected. Therefore, you have to calculate direct material price and usage variance. I will calculate number 1, direct material price variance here. Number 2, direct material price variance. Direct material price variance. When you are going to analyze direct material price variance, you will compare standard price, what you expect to pay and what you have actually paid. Okay. That difference should be multiplied into number of units you have purchased, the impact on price change. Therefore, here it is very easy, you can compare a standard price minus actual price into quantity purchased. Quantity purchased. Now we will look at material X and material Y. Material X. Their standard price per kilogram of material is 20. Expected price is 20. Actual price is not directly given. Even you can take actual price into quantity purchase mean actual cost. It has given, no need to find out the unit cost even. But anyway, we will look at 234,000 there, divide by 13,000 kilograms. Actual price was 18 rupees per kilogram. During the period you have purchased quantity 13,000 kilograms you have purchased. Then expected to purchase at 20, actual purchase price 18. That means you have purchased at a lower price than expected. 2 rupees favorable, 2 rupees into 13,000, 26,000 price variance favorable for material X. Now look at material Y. Material Y. You expected to purchase at 30, okay, your expected price is 30. What was the actual price? 462,000 divided by 14,000. Actual price is 33. You had to pay more than you expected, more than you estimated. 30 minus 33, 3 rupees more into how many kilograms? 14,000. 14,000. Then 3 into 14,000, 42,000, it is an adverse variance. If you take the price both together, total direct material price variance will be how much? Net impact 16,000 and adverse variance. 16,000 and adverse variance. Okay. Direct material price variance 16,000 and adverse. Clear? Here total cost variance 56,000. Out of that 16,000 is direct material price variance. Then you can easily calculate the usage variance. Why? Both price and usage together compile total material cost variance. Anyway, we will look at third variance, direct material usage variance. Direct material usage variance. How to find it out? Usage variance you will compare. If you produce 1 kilogram, 1 unit of product, material X required 1 kilogram. එක හදන්න kilogram එකක් ඕනේ නම් 8000ක් හදන්න කීයද? 8,000. Compare it with actual usage. How many kilograms? 13,000 kilograms being used. Okay. Then you will look at material Y, 2 kilogram each, 2 into 8,000, 16,000 kilograms should have been used. But actual utilization, how many kilograms? 14,000. That is the usage variance. You will compare expected usage against the actual usage. Then difference will be multiplied by the standard price Y, the impact of the price already being adjusted here. Okay. Therefore, I am going to calculate direct material usage variance, you will compare standard use or standard usage for actual production minus actual usage into standard price. Standard price. Clear? Now, if you look at material X, standard usage එකකට 1 kilogram එකයි 1 kilogram. I have produced 8,000 unit. Based on the example, it says 8,000 unit. 8,000. Then material usage should be 8,000 kilograms of material, but actual usage 13,000. 13,000. 13,000. That means I have used more than budgeted. Okay, more than budgeted I have used. That means according to the budget, it says you should use only 8,000, but I have used 13,000, 5,000 kilograms more. What is the standard price? Standard price is 20. Then 5,000 into 20, 100,000. It is an adverse variance. 100,000, it is an adverse variance. Material X usage variance, it is an adverse. We are supposed to use 8,000 kilogram of material, but we have used 13,000 kilogram of material X, 5,000 more than the requirement. Material Y, each required 2 kilogram of material. If you produce 8,000 units, you should use 16,000 kilogram of material, but actual utilization 14,000 kilogram of material. That means you have used 2,000 kilograms lower than expected, then standard price is 30. Then there is a favorable variance of 60,000 from material Y. Then take total usage variance. Total usage variance, again an adverse variance of 40,000. 40,000 adverse. 40,000 an adverse variance. Now you can see direct material price variance 16,000 adverse, direct material usage variance 40,000 adverse. If you add both together, it will equal to direct material total cost variance of 56,000. Okay, if you add both together, price variance 16,000 adverse, usage variance 40,000 adverse. 40,000 adverse. Okay. That's how it will work. Now, there are some important points I need to highlight. What is that? When we are analyzing these variances, especially from material price variance, assume there are some material not being utilized. That means closing stocks are there. If they are valued at standard cost, you can use, there is no change to the direct material price variance computation. There won't be any change, because you will recognize the variance at the time of purchase itself. If you value the inventories at standard cost, there won't be a change in material price variance computation. But if you value your closing stocks at actual cost, you should use quantity use instead of quantity purchased. That change need to be done. Okay, now the direct material usage variance, since you are using two type of material, you can analyze this usage variance into mix and yield. Okay, this usage variance you can analyze into mix and yield, because you are using more than one type of material. That is very important. Okay, I will wipe this one, then we will take when we are summarizing, I will summarize these two as well. Mix and yield variance. First we will look at the mix. What is the standard mix? Material X, if you are going to produce 1 unit of output, material X 1 kilogram, material Y should be 2 kilogram. 1 to 2 is the mix. When you are going to prepare a cup of tea, there is a standard mix, no? 3 spoon of milk powder and 3 spoon of sugar. That is the standard mix. I don't know. That will be the standard mix. It depends on person to person. Here the product mix is given. When you are going to produce an output, it require 1 kilogram of material X and 2 kilogram of material Y. That is the standard mixture. Therefore, you have to find out what is the mix variance and what is the yield variance. When we are going to calculate yield variance, if you input any 3 kilogram of material, there should be an output. If you put 3 kilogram, there should be an output. Then you can calculate how many materials being used and what is the expected output and what is the actual output. Okay, first we will start up with mix variance. Okay. Now this is the mixture, 1 kilogram from X, 2 kilogram from Y. Okay. We have to prepare a kind of schedule like this. Okay. Direct material mix variance. Direct material mix variance. Direct material mix variance. When you are going to calculate the mix variance, you will compare your standard mix with actual usage or actual mix. You have to compare standard mix of actual material. You have to convert actual usage into standard mix. Standard mix of actual material minus actual use, actual usage into standard price. Okay. Leave some space. Leave some space. We will work out what is the standard mix. Standard mix. Material X and material Y. X 1 kilogram, Y 2 kilogram. Per unit 3 kilograms are required. If you produce an output, it required 3 kilogram of material. Okay. Now actual mix or actual usage. Actual use. Actual use. Material X, you have used 13,000 kilogram of material. 13,000 kilograms. Material Y, 14,000 kilograms. Total 27,000 kilograms. 27,000 kilograms is the total usage. Now you have to convert, now look at the ratio 1/3 from X, 2/3 from Y, that is the mixture. 1/3 from X, 2/3 from Y. Therefore, you have to convert, if you use 27,000 kilogram of material, this 27,000 also you have to convert into standard mix. 1/3 out of 27,000, 1/3 should goes to X and 2/3 should goes to Y. Okay. Now I will convert actual into standard mix. Actual into standard mix. Actual into standard mix. How can I work out? Out of 27,000, out of 27,000, 1/3, 3 එකක්, 1/3 should goes to X. That means 9,000 kilograms. Out of 27,000 total material usage, if we follow the standard mixture, 2/3 should goes to material Y. It should be 18,000. 18,000 kilograms. Okay. Now this should be the mixture. If we use 27,000 kilograms, out of that 1/3 should be material X, 2/3 should be material Y. That should be the mixture. The උදාහරණයක් විදියට, when you are going to prepare a cup of tea, assume 3 spoon of sugar and 3 spoon of milk powder. කිරිපිටි නම් හැඳි 3යි, සීනිත් හැඳි 3යි. That is the standard mixture. But actual mixture might be different from that. Clear? Therefore, when you are going to look at that, total material usage 27,000 මොනවා කරත් හැම යුනිට් එකකම බර තියෙන්න ඕනේ කිලෝග්‍රෑම් 3ක්. 3න් එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ X, 3න් දෙකක් Y තියෙන්න ඕනේ. එහෙනම් 27000ක් use කරා නම් total material එක ඒකෙන් 3න් එකක් වෙන්න ඕනේ X, 3න් දෙකක් Y වෙන්න ඕනේ. That is our expectation. If you use 27,000 kilogram of material, out of that 1/3 should be X and 2/3 should be Y. Then compare it with actual usage, then you can find out material mix variance. Okay. I will take material X. According to the standard, if we use 27,000 kilogram of material, standard usage should be 9,000. We should use 9,000 kilogram of material X, but actual utilization 13,000. That means you have consumed more than budgeted. Standard price is 20. Then 20 into difference is 4,000, 80,000 adverse. 80,000 adverse. Material Y, according to the standard mix, it should be 18,000. 18,000. But actual, it is 14,000. 14,000. Standard price is 30. 120,000 it is favorable. That means you have increased the proportion of cheap material and reduced the proportion of expensive material. Ultimately, mix variance will result a favorable variance. If you look at the mix variance, total 40,000 favorable variance. 40,000 favorable variance. 40,000, this variance is favorable. That is mix variance. How it has happened? You have increased the proportionate. දැන් බලන්න 9000ක් තියෙන්න ඕන තැන මේකේ 13000ක් තියෙනවා. You have increased the proportionate share of cheap material. Their cost is 20 per kilogram. You have reduced the proportionate share of expensive material, then it has resulted a favorable variance. Now we will look at what will happen to the yield variance. Okay. Fifth one, I will compute direct material yield, direct material yield variance. This computation will be slightly different than the computation. Generally, if you input 3 kilogram of material as given in here 3 kilogram, you should get one output. Kilogram 3ක් දැම්මොත් එකක් එන්න ඕනි. Therefore, if we use 27,000 kilogram of material, how many unit you should obtain as an output? Then it should be compared with actual output. Okay, actual output is given here. Actual output. Actual output 8,000 units. Actual output 8,000 units. Then you have to deduct less. What is the expected output? You have to calculate expected output. Expected output from 27,000 kilogram of material. 27,000 kilogram of material. Each unit required 3 kilogram of material. If we use 27,000 kilograms, okay, 27,000 kilograms if we used, each required 3 kilogram. 27,000 divided by 3, the expected output should be 9,000 units. Now you can realize that our actual output is lower than expected output. What might be the reason? Since you use in cheap materials, there might be some wastage. You may not be able to get expected outcome. Then there is a negative yield, adverse yield in unit. Adverse yield in units. 8,000 minus 9,000, your adverse yield is 1,000 units. 1,000 unit adverse yield. Because you have expect to get 9,000 but actual output is 8,000. Now calculate the value. That means adverse yield 1,000, your direct material cost per unit is 80. Now multiply material cost per unit. Direct material cost per unit. This is standard, okay? Standard cost you have to consider. Material X, it should be 20. Material Y, it should be 30. So not 30, 60. Total 80. Standard material cost per unit is 80. Therefore, in value, your adverse direct material yield, adverse yield in rupees, 80 into 1,000, it should be 80,000 adverse. Yield variance 80,000 adverse. Now we can identify the relationship. If you use cheap material, your mix variance will be favorable, but ultimately yield variance will be adverse. If you use cheap material, there might be some wastage, there might be some defect items, then your yield will be lower than expected due to the inferior material usage, but mix variance will be favorable, but yield variance might be an adverse variance. Okay. Okay. Now I will summarize the total variance computation into a one diagram, then you can understand the interrelationship between each variance and how they will arrive and how we can arrive those answer. It is not mandatory to calculate all the variances at once, total cost variance, but to get an understanding it is very important. Direct material cost variance into two, direct material price variance and direct material usage variance. Since we are using more than one type of material, this usage variance will analyze into material mix and yield. Material mix and material yield variance. Okay. If you look at material mix variance 40,000 favorable, 40,000 favorable, yield variance was 80,000 adverse, 80,000 adverse. Then mix and yield come together, you can get the usage variance. Usage variance 40,000 adverse. Can you remember, you have already found the price variance 16,000 adverse. If you take both together, direct material cost variance, total cost variance 56,000 adverse. That's how total direct material variance will relate, and that is how total direct material variance you can calculate. Okay. Then these are the possible areas, these are the normal basic variance analysis. You can calculate direct material price, usage, mix and yield. Identify the relationship, mix and yield variance, you can identify the relationship between mix and yield variance. If you use cheap material instead of expensive quality material, your mix variance will be favorable, but you have to assess the impact on yield. Due to use of cheap material, your yield has declined. It has resulted in negative variance, ultimately total usage variance being a negative variance. That is about direct material cost variances. That is the first item we have discussed. Okay, now we have discussed complete analysis of direct material cost variances. As I mentioned in inception, direct material price, usage, then usage we have analyzed into mix and yield variance. Now we are moving to the next cost variance, direct labor cost variance. Okay, direct labor cost variance, direct labor cost variance, direct labor cost variance. When you are going to analyze direct labor cost variance, mainly this direct labor cost variance will divide into three sections: direct labor rate, direct labor efficiency and idle time. Idle time means there might be, you might have been paid, there might not be actual productive usage, or there is no actual production for that particular hours, labor being idle. Therefore, all remember, always this idle time variance result in negative variance or adverse variance. Total direct labor cost variance, here we can divide this into three: direct labor rate variance, efficiency and idle time. Idle time. Same as earlier, direct labor rate variance like direct material price, the change in price, the rate per hour might have changed. We have expected to assume 100 rupees per hour, actual might be 150 rupees per hour. That is the rate change. the labor cost might be vary with the expected outcome will be different from the actual due to the efficiency. As an example, we have assumed each unit requires 3 direct labor hours, but actual utilization might be 3.5 hours per unit. That is the efficiency variance. Then idle time variance, there won't be any output being produced during the period. Okay, that is idle time. Therefore, always it will be a negative or adverse variance. Now, there is an example number 3. While reading example number 3, we will calculate rate, efficiency and idle time. Even the labor also, there might be mix and yield variance if we use more than one type of labor. Therefore, efficiency variance also we can analyze into mix and yield. Mix and yield. Those mix and yield variance, if we use more than one type of labor, we can analyze into. Okay, read the illustration, example number 3, then you can calculate all those variances. ABC PLC has estimated to produce 10,000 units in the month of March. The direct labor cost estimate has given below. Okay, direct labor, skilled labor 20,000 hours, total cost 4 million, unskilled 30,000 hours, cost will be 3 million. During the period, company has produced 8,000 units and following costs were incurred in relation to the direct labor. Look at the information, skilled labor hours paid and total cost is given and hours worked also separately being given. Okay. Required to calculate direct labor rate, direct labor efficiency and idle time variance. Number 2, calculate labor efficiency variance into mix and yield variances. Okay. Now we will look at what is the standard requirement. Direct labor. Direct labor. Direct labor. There are 2 types of labor, skilled and unskilled. Okay, skilled and unskilled. Skilled and unskilled. Skilled and unskilled. Okay, skilled 20,000 hours for 10,000 units. 20,000 hours for 10,000 units. That means skilled required 2 hours at. The rate would be how much? 4 million for 20,000. 4 million for 20,000 mean per hour the cost will be 200 rupees per hour. 200. Then 200 into 2 hours, the cost would be 400. Cost of skilled labor would be 400. Cost of unskilled, 30,000 hours for 10,000 unit mean each require 3 hours. 3 hours at total cost 30,000 hours will cost 3 million mean each will cost 100 rupees. That means 300,000. Sorry, 300. If you produce an output, your direct labor cost per unit will be 700. Cost will be 700. Now you can easily calculate total cost variance, the rate variance and efficiency variance you can easily calculate. Okay, first we will do total cost variance. Actual output is given 8,000 unit you have produced. Therefore, we will calculate actual output 8,000 units during the period. 8,000 units. Okay. Therefore, number 1. What should be the standard cost of actual standard direct labor cost of actual production how much it would be? Each unit the direct labor cost would be 700 rupees. Each would be 700. Actual production 8,000. 8,000. 700 into 8,000 units, that would be the expected cost. How much? 5.6 million. 5,600,000. 5,600,000. Now compare it with actual cost you have incurred. Actual direct labor cost. Direct labor cost. Skilled. How much? Skilled labor, it has given 3,240,000. Unskilled, unskilled 3,120,000. Total actual direct labor cost, if you look at the actual cost, 6,360,000. 6,360,000. Look at it. Expected cost 5.6 million, but you have spent 6,360,000. There is an adverse variance of 760,000. $760,000, your total direct labor cost is an adverse variance. Total direct labor cost variance. This is total direct labor cost variance. Labor cost variance. Total direct labor cost variance 760,000 and adverse variance, because you expect to incur 5.6 but you have spent 6.360. Therefore, the difference is 760,000 is an adverse variance. Now, this total cost variance, always you need not to calculate the total cost variance. This total cost variance you can analyze into rate, efficiency and thereafter idle time. Okay. I will start with rate variance. Number 2, direct labor rate variance. Direct labor rate variance, you will compare standard rate, what is the rate you expect, standard rate minus actual rate into hours paid. Hours paid. Whether you worked or not, you have to pay. There are two types of labor. Skilled. Standard rate 200 per hour. Actual rate you can easily calculate 3,240,000 into 18,180. Actual rate is 180 rupees. Hours paid, it says 18,000 hours being paid. 18,000 hours. You expected to pay 200 rupees, but actual payment is 180. 20 rupees favorable per each hour you paid. Then 20 rupees into 18,000, 360,000 favorable. 360,000 favorable. Okay. Then unskilled. Unskilled. The standard rate was 100 rupees per hour, but actually is how much? 26,000 hours, total cost 3,120,000. Actual cost was 120. Total number of hours 26,000. Expected payment 100, but actual rate per 120. 20 rupees more you have to pay. 20 into 26,000 hours, 520 adverse. 520,000 it is an adversary. Total total direct labor rate variance, how much? 160,000 and adverse variance. 160,000 it is an adverse variance. Total direct labor rate variance. Okay. Now we will look at efficiency. Efficiency variance, you will compare each unit required 2 hours of skilled labor. Then if you produce 8,000, how many hours they have to use, and what is the actual hours they have been used. Okay. Next one, third, we are going to calculate direct labor efficiency variance. Efficiency variance. Direct labor efficiency variance. You will compare standard usage of actual production, standard hours for actual production against the actual hours worked, not paid, because hours paid include idle time as well. Therefore, you have to compare standard hours for actual production minus actual hours worked. Actual hours worked into standard rate. Standard rate. Skill labor. We have manufactured, we have produced 8,000 units. Each unit required 2 hours of skill labor. 2 hours of skill labor. That means we should use 16,000 skill labor hours. Actual hours work, yes, same, 16,000 direct labor hours. Standard rate is 200. Look at 16 is the standard, actually 16,000, there is no variance, variance is nil. There is no efficiency variance in skilled labor. But look at unskilled. Unskilled. You have manufactured 8,000 units. Each required 3 hours. Each required 3 hours. 8,000 into 3 hours, it should be 24,000 hours. Yes, 24,000 hours. 24,000 hours. Actual hours worked also 24,000. That means there is no efficiency variance. Standard rate 100. There is no labor efficiency variance. The reason, standard hours same as actual hours work, there is no variance here. You have noticed both were matched. Therefore, there is no labor efficiency variance here. 160,000 variance is there, that 160,000 from rate variance. Then It is not tallied with total labor cost variance of 760. Only 160 from direct labor rate. Efficiency 0. Then next one is idle time. You have to calculate idle time variance, fourth variance, idle time variance. Idle time variance. Idle time variance. Idle time variance. Idle time variance, how to calculate? Actual hours worked minus actual hours worked minus actual hours paid. Into standard rate. If both are same, there won't be any idle time. Okay, look at skilled labor, skilled. Actual hours worked only 16,000. Only 16,000 hours they have worked, but they have to pay 18,000 hours. That means 2,000 hours they are being idle. Okay, but we have to incur a cost. Cost is 200 rupees per hour. 200 rupees per hour. It will be an adverse variance of 400,000. 400,000 adverse. Unskilled. Unskilled. Actual hours work 24,000. Actual hours paid 26,000. 2,000 hours paid more into 100. 200,000 adverse. Total 600,000 and adverse variance. 600,000 adverse. Now, while analyzing this total direct labor cost variance mainly resulted from direct labor rate and direct labor idle time variance. Since there is no labor efficiency variance, both are nil, no need to calculate mix and yield variance, because yield variance also resulted negative variance, zero variance, and mix variance also same. The reason is standard hours and actual hours both are same. There are no need to calculate direct labor, mix and yield, both will result zero variances. Okay. Now we have computed direct labor, rate, efficiency, thereafter idle time and total direct labor cost variance. In a summary, I will give you a summary about direct labor cost variance. Direct labor cost variance. Direct labor cost variance into 3: rate, efficiency and idle time. Even we can analyze this efficiency into mix and yield, but since the variance is 0, no need to do that. Even you can divide into 2, mix and yield. Both also will result negative variance. Rate variance 160,000 adverse. 160,000 adverse. Efficiency variance nil. Idle time variance 600,000 adverse. Mix variance also nil, yield also nil. Then total direct labor cost variance will be 160,000 plus 600,000. 760,000, it is an adverse variance. It is an adverse variance, 760,000 labor rate, efficiency and idle time, total labor cost variance. Because I have not analyzed mix and yield, why? If you look at the mix, standard mix also will come as same as the actual utilization, 40,000 hours divided into 2/5 to skilled labor and 3/5 to unskilled, both will match and there won't be any mix and yield variances. Okay, that is the end of direct labor cost variance. Direct labor cost variance.